A number of people asked or said that they were not so satisfied with their locking and throwing skills, which is fair enough. I think we should never be satisfied with our locking and throwing skills. I thought I would do a short video on some principles which I find are helpful in understanding locking and throwing without having to go technique by technique through millions of techniques. These apply to all kinds of locking and throwing. We can say they're internal as well. Let's say they're internal as well. So the first thing I want to do is consider my structure and my strength. We do a lot of that, but basically the more I can use, say, this sense of whole body working together, you know, if you pull here, then I can open up here, the better. So sending up here, I want to have my whole body structure together. If I'm all loose and you pull, I lose my structure very easily and I lose my control, and that takes time to recover from. So the more I can keep this, and if one pulls me to the point where I can't keep it, then I can follow, and then I can follow an angle which is harder for him. So first is consider your overall structure. Second is to consider where your partner is weak. With luck, we've talked about this elsewhere. If not, here we go again. Basically, he's strong this way towards his feet. He's not strong in the line between his heels. So if I just push a little bit here, he's going to go over. If I pull a little bit here, he's going to go over, providing he doesn't react. Obviously, real people react. You won't have as long to go, oh. But effectively, if we're in any kind of wrestling position, then as soon as I feel that, I know that here he's weak. And I can start using my whole body structure to put force there. He's going to react and compensate, and then I can go here. And now it can be straightforward, right? So that allows me to feel stronger than I am and to move him with relatively little effort. Next thing to consider is I can move you, but you didn't fall over. Why? Because you moved yourself. So to make it work, once I start moving you, I have to make sure that one way or another you cannot recreate your base. Again, very basic. Sorry. Center of gravity somewhere here, base this shape between my feet. Or possibly, if there's all of us, this shape between our forefeet. So now I want to move the center of gravity backwards to the point where he wants to move a foot. If I'm going to make him fall, I move the center of gravity backwards and stop him from using a foot, either by stepping. Down here, yeah. So I can step, put the weight here, and now because he can't step, well, because I'm stepping on his foot, once his center of gravity goes beyond his base, he starts to fall. The next thing is, you know, there are more complex throws, but the more leverage I can put into this, the better. So here, everyone is strong this way because I'm going straight into his shoulder, but this way, not so strong. Come on, resist me. Resist me. So my magic one finger. So if I can pull across here, now that gives me access to different positions from which I can throw. I'm not particularly into hip throws, but this can also be used to enter for a hip throw. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm using my structure to balance his center of gravity on my center of gravity. Ideally, this is effortless. Ideally. Which comes to the next part. I don't want him to know what's happening. So I want to change the, either make him go to a place where he thinks he's in an advantage, but I have the advantage, or as I'm moving, not give him all this information by pulling him everywhere and making him panic. I can basically just connect with my hands and now feel where his body's going. and then as it goes, find the weak angle where he's gonna lose his balance. Those are the essential principles I use very briefly when taking people down. It gets more complicated if there are grips, like you have a gi and I can't, they're holding me and it's harder to break the grips. So that's basically how I'm trying to do it. And then thinking also, how do I avoid him being in a position where if I start taking you down, that you take me down with you. Or we both fall down together. Fine for jiu-jitsu, it's going to happen anyway, but if I can avoid it, that's better. So, useful thing to do if you want to practice throws too is practice in positions you're going to find yourself in. So this is such a common wrestling position, or here. Yeah. So these are positions where people just clinch naturally. So I want to be able to think, how do I maintain and practice from these positions as well? What can I do? Next thing is, say we're talking a little bit about the strong here, weak here, but I want to use leverage. So for example, here my whole body going this way. So if I just try and lift you, or move you, it's hard, but if I move in a curve, so one direction, next direction, and again use my whole body, then it sets up my partner being in a less comfortable position where he has less mechanical advantage, which is what locks are about, and then from here you can go somewhere. Same here, you pull this out, you twist this, use your whole body. If it goes fast enough, either the wrist breaks or he falls over. If it doesn't, then he P-trends my hand and I have to start again. Or he does some clever Tai Chi thing where he runs around the back faster than I can get around. And now, if I was Tim, you run around the back of me and I go, okay, you go. But unfortunately I'm not Tim, so I never do that. Alright, there are some basic concepts. I'm going to put some things on locking, counter-grabbing in the basic hand method section of the I-Bagua.